I am so excited. I have Erica on with me today, and we are going to talk about a lot of cool things, especially talking about cost per lead in this current new normal. I love to call it new normal. That's my new word for our current situation. And one of the things I've discussed, and we've had, April was a very interesting month, Erica. We had a lot of new clients. We had a lot of new business coming towards us because they basically said, look, we're gonna roll into May. It's a V-shaped thing, blah blah blah. Now we're into late May. Clients are having their what I would consider second thoughts, or they're like, how long is this going to last? But we see a lot of opportunity, and we see a lot of opening. We see things sort of like, I think there's a general thought in most of the practitioners' minds, is the demand there? And I think that is something that we're going to show, which is part of this discussion. But what I wanted to also say was that what I've been talking to clients about is leadership skills. And leadership skills mean that, instead of pondering and punting this ball down the field for another week, it's about making decisions and starting to basically test the waters and become relative to your market. And basically the thought that I've said, and this is a recent indication of really where the market is it's a commitment to your market. It's a commitment to your community as well, because there's the real demand, is that if you stand up and you're the leader and people want to gravitate towards you because they see you, then evidently you and I both have found out that that is an amazing time right now to be in a leadership spot, because you're getting low cost leads. Let's talk about that real quickly.
So I think right now is the perfect time to, emerge as a leader during this opportunity. People want their beauty, but they want to be protected while they get their beauty right now. So this is an opportunity to, come out ahead of your competitors. Tell your audience, how you're going to, meet their demand, but everyone's going to be safe in a safe environment. And, cost per leads are very low right now. This is a great time to get out there and, be a leader in your field. Get out there ahead of your competition. It's going to be very important that, you are, or we would be helping you select, campaigns and services to advertise that are going to be appropriate during this time where we can really excel and do well.
Yeah, the safety economy, maybe that's what we should call it right now, because you do have to tilt your messages towards the safety factor, and also really the ability to persuade customers that it's okay, right? I think that's what's going through a lot of practitioners' minds, is that, are the customers themselves, we forget about the demand. Yeah, we know the demand's there, but are the customers going to come in? And the customer is going to show up for either, a teleconsult if they're still in lockdown, or a teleconsult if they're going to do like a two-step model that we found has been super. It's interesting. We're seeing all these new models develop because of the current new economy, and I always wonder why people would hesitate if I told them, like, look, the costs are almost 2/3 less to run your business from a marketing perspective. You're going to jump ahead in profitability. I know for our own company, like our agency, we had the best month ever in April, because we had jumped ahead. We had cost savings. We had huge amounts of impact from inbound activity. And I'm thinking, why aren't the practitioners taking advantage of this? And I said, I think part of it is just a mental stimulus of saying it's okay to be opportunity driven right now as well. Because I think there was opportunity shaming going on when people were open and others weren't. And that might have been a curse for some people to say, well, maybe I shouldn't be out there because I don't want to feel like I'm taking advantage of this situation. But what we're saying is that your customers, your patients, the people who are in dire need to get out and do something, they need leadership. They need you to tell them it's okay,
Absolutely. And I think, Matt, like one of the really cool things that we're seeing right now, a lot of the clients that have started even just this week, that have online booking, their schedules are already booked out over the next like 2-3 weeks, even in some of these areas of like hotspots in New York and New Jersey, where, it's showing that a lot of people don't appear to be, nervous about coming out, and they're ready for beauty.
Yeah, they're ready for something that is outside of the 30 to 60 days of confinement. And yes, they have to wear a mask. And yes, they have to do this, business of being ultra sensitive to the conditions that are out there. But the reality is that we're seeing the other states, Georgia, Texas, Florida, all these other states, the masks are gone. It's over. Like you literally go and you see some of this stuff happening in the news, and you're like, they're not even there's such a different demand curve that is flooding the market, but they still have the same challenges, which is they have to be, abide by the government sanctional rules. And we're not saying that there isn't something, behind this from like a political noise, but we do know that some areas of the country have never even stopped. And those ones that never stopped just absolutely were amazingly, we saw record, because there was nobody else advertising, right? So
Yeah, when we go into the data shortly, we will show one client that kept going through this whole thing, hundreds of leads at great prices.
yeah, and whether they booked now or they book later or they booked, to go at some other time during this year, the whole concept is that the data, the pure ability to bring in the database of clients, the phone numbers, emails, text messages, like all that stuff, they've gained hundreds and hundreds of new data points to now market to forever, and that is an interesting point. But really, what I want to talk about is your numbers that we see directly in the systems. And I think one of the things that we could do is really talk about things that would make sense for other practitioners to really think about. This is your business. This is the things that you do. These are the abilities to run through some of the elements that we could certainly elevate as practice specific. But our main bevy here is, this is how you now have to react, meaning that there's no going back to the old way. There's no past. It's today. You can just think it's neutral. It's like, look at where we are today and start marketing. And I want you to start with some of these things that I've seen like in the last week, which are incredible. So let's
Yeah.
screen share and let's see what's happening with the numbers.
Okay.
So let me know if you have any challenges with, there it is. Got it.
Okay. So I think, it's extremely important that, when you do start up your practice, advertising, that, we're going to focus on services that have, demand right now. Things that people were, really wanting during quarantine, like Botox, but, they couldn't have. So this is one client, extremely successful campaign. We were running a Botox lead gen ad, and we were generating leads for only $4.30. So this customer kept going through, the entire pandemic. For $3,800, they generated 893 leads. So I
Yeah.
mean that's pretty crazy. If one of these patients walks through the door and represents anywhere from 500 to $2,000, I mean the return on ad spend is just incredible. They're also running a cool sculpting campaign, which I highly recommend. If you have body contouring in your practice, that is an extremely safe thing to be doing right now. It's nowhere near the face. You totally want to focus on body. And you can see this campaign kept going the whole time. They had cost per lead at $51, and we generated 124 cool sculpting leads for them.
What's
So that's
amazing to me, let me just break in for a second. What's amazing to me is that the number is insane, meaning 893 Botox leads over the last, what is it, 90 days?
yep.
That's like
This
300
particular
leads.
campaign was about, I would say, 6 weeks that I'm showing here.
Yeah, the
That's
numbers,
insane,
I mean,
right?
it's insane. I mean, you look at that and you go, holy cow. And these are small, not super small, but I'd say a mid-range practice or small practice, not like a bazillion locations, but a couple of locations. All right, so this is great. So quick question for you, and we'll move on to the next one because I think people should digest this. The cool sculpting could be a mix of inbound leads for teleconsulting first to get a client to commit. Was there a two-step process, or was this direct cool sculpting leads?
This client was direct because fortunately for them, they were only closed down for about 2 weeks. So they
Right.
didn't have to do a big focus on telemedicine.
Yeah. Yeah, I was curious because what we saw with some of our campaigns is that some of them were now going to telemedicine for the prequal, to prequal the client, pre-qualification, sorry, and then going into getting a commitment at that point. So it's almost like some of the businesses, because of the lockdowns, have to sort of do a two-step model, but it did work out at the end because the cost per lead was so cheap anyways. So that's why I was asking that question. Anything else you can tell us about this before we move on to the next one?
I think, it's a combination of why, we're so successful here on these campaigns. So, we've picked services that we know there's a demand for, on social media. Things that, already have, value to the client. They already know about it. These are not services like microneedling or, laser resurfacing that are better sold through education, like within the office. People know Botox, they know cool sculpting. It's already branded, it's already ready to go. So that's really important when we select the service lines for social campaigns. That's number one. And then number two is that, our ad creatives, which I'm going to quickly show, um, we use models and offers over and over again that we know work. So, like for example, this is one of our ads. Um, they're running a Botox special, $10.95. Some practices do $10 a unit. This
Sure.
ad has performed awesome over time. This particular model has done well. That's one thing I want to hit on. And then I also want to show the video, but my screen, hold on, bear with me. Okay. So for cool sculpting, we have been just running these awesome video type ads. They're
Yep.
interactive, great thumbnails. So we're getting, great click through rates. And that's what's keeping our cost per lead down on these type of campaigns. A lot of call to action. We have the discount right on the video, right in the headline. A strong, tag here: book now, not learn more.
Right.
We're providing value. We're telling them, all of the benefits of the treatment. So, I think it's a combination of selecting the right service, a great offer, and a good creative. So I think that's what's so important here.
Perfect. All right, let's get on to the next client example, and then let's take a look at that one because I love that we're doing some Google Ads because to me this is so direct drive. And let's talk about what this really means. I mean, these numbers are insane.
Actually, you know what, Matt, real quickly, before we move over to Google, I
Yeah.
do want to show one more example set of a client who is here, in the Northeast in New
Right.
Jersey, where people are a little nervous. We literally just launched this campaign this week for this client for Botox. It's been running for 4 days, and we've already delivered 56 leads. They got 25 leads for a cost per lead of $10.86 on just like their, main campaign where we were targeting like a local audience with interest.
Yeah.
And then this is crazy. We have a remarketing campaign where we're hitting their traffic from Google, again on Facebook, where we generated 31 leads for only $3.17. So those
Right.
really high cost, Google ad leads, we were able to convert them here, with a second shot on Facebook for only $3.17. So this
Right.
client, he's opening June 1st. He already has 56 leads in the pipeline just within the last 3 days. So I think this is super encouraging news.
Yeah, and so that's a great story. I'm glad you brought that up before we move to Google because we do cross-pollinate between Google and Facebook. And what that really means is that when someone's in Google searching for a topic, they get tagged, and then basically you can understand that your browser is searching all these topics. And when it comes back to being now a browser in Facebook, and this works on phones and computers, it picks up that you were looking for Botox and then retargets the person with a retargeting ad. So it's very, very smart. Things have gotten so quickly down the pipeline of being very, very hyper targeted. And another thing is that think about the history that's been going on in these browsers that we can capture and cause really people to get low cost ads by the fact that we're collecting data. That's why we keep saying the same thing over. The people who stayed open collected data. They collected all this information, and now they're able to really take advantage of it.
Yeah, and this client had a little different offer. They run $100 gift certificate. So we can say this a couple different ways so that you're comfortable with how you're positioning your offer to the market.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull up AdWords. Bear with me one moment. It got blocked.
They say you have one of your tabs open already up there.
I can't click to it because of the
oh, you got blocked in. Got it.
The meeting.
You can scroll over it sometimes too. But one of the things I was going to say while this is lighting up is that we've also seen a huge amount of people who have stopped advertising and then started back up again. And then what happens is that there's an initial rush on their ads. What we're also seeing is that, from a tremendous flow of pent-up demand, that when those first 2 weeks seem to be just like a golden era, before we even do adjustments. So this is great. This is the one I was looking at before. This is OBGYN, and that is just amazing to see conversion rates at 25%. I have never seen that before.
This is crazy. We just started running this campaign this week. I think, it's a perfect example that, people have been on lockdown for, 2 months. They have medical needs. They have issues. They are searching for new physicians. Now is the time. You've got to get yourself out there ahead of the competition because people are looking for you.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, if you look at the cost per click, which is $5.41, that's really, really cheap. I mean, for Google. I mean, I've seen a lot of cost per clicks. Yeah, for this topic, obviously, very low cost. I mean, you could get engaged for, looking at this is just like for about $500. And what was this for the last week or so, roughly?
This has been running, for about a week. So the client spent $400. They have 19 conversions, and I just want to clarify that a conversion is truly a conversion. We have it set up where it's either a phone call or they are booking on the client's calendar. So these aren't just like miscellaneous clicks. These are real leads.
Yeah, and I think that proves a really important point, is that when you start to think about what demand is in the specific vertical that you're in, the niche, and we've shown, some amazing numbers, some amazing amounts of leads. But what I see is that it's the actual seriousness. And that is what I've been telling clients, is that the tire kickers are not out there right now. If someone's coming to you, they're doing it for real, because they've been in a situation where they have either a condition or something that they need to, get arranged, or if they're in the aesthetics world, they're chomping at the bit to get started. We always get into a situation when we talk to clients about, we understand that the market is based off of like a percentage being sort of window shopping, a percentage being, engaged 100%, and then a percentage that are serious. It's like the seriousness of right now. It's like, that's the big thing that people can't see, is that it's not only the conversion, it's the post-sale conversion. So these are great lead costs, but they're also converting to clients once they get through the process of being on a phone call or sitting in a chair. They're converting to procedures, and that's the big number that people don't see, is that this is very, very revenue specific to a lot of clients. And you can't always draw numbers and conclusions in the first couple of weeks, but that's why we're telling people, like, if you're thinking about getting started and you're going to delay, it's almost like, the person who sees these people walking by the store, and then decides to walk outside and say, "Would you like to come in?" you know. So
Exactly. Grab them. They're ready.
yeah, cool.
Someone else will.
Yeah, well, that's right. Great, Erica. Thank you so much. This has been a wonderful discussion, and I really appreciate you showing some of the numbers. And we'll come back in another 30 days, and we'll do some more of this. And it's just awesome to see that the leadership of these people who have been out starting again, or starting over, or becoming new clients and starting their own campaigns have had just an insane success. But they've stood up for their community. They've become part of their own world of living a leadership driven pathway, as opposed to wait and see, because we know the wait and see people are still waiting and seeing. They're going to keep going until maybe the time's too late and they miss all the opportunity that is being presented because of this. And so we don't obviously want to say that this is take advantage of an opportunity, but I will say that the first movers and the leaders in their categories in these niches are the ones who are taking advantage of really what you've just shown us, which is an amazing ability for real patients with real concerns, or want real procedures, and they're serious, to get started as soon as possible. And some of them, obviously, even lockdowns, might have to be delayed a couple of weeks or however long it might be, but the cure is to get started.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Matt.